So that just before I open up for questions, I just want to say what we're doing here is something really specific that I'm not saying that your thoughts, feelings, sensations, sounds, I'm not saying none of that's real or important, or indeed that your identity doesn't extend to those things too. But what we're trying to do here is push back. The yin and yang symbol is very black and very white. It's not a grey dot. It's a very black one and a very white one together. So we're separating parts of our identity out here. So if we're aiming for wholeness here, or unity, but to make something whole, you need to separate it out first to make it into. The aim here is to expand your identity. Yeah. So normally we experience our identity being locked inside our personality, and what I'm going to try and do today is push our identity outside of our personality a little bit, so that now we've got a personality and also something that's beyond it, and so we've made ourselves bigger into a bigger whole. Okay, and I'm not saying they're two separate things; they actually happen simultaneously, and we'll see that as time goes on today. But the first step here is to push back into what in Zen they call absolute subjectivity. So subjectivity is the place from where you feel like you're looking out at the world. The world is an object arising inside your awareness, your location of where you feel you are your subjective space, your inner world. And we're pushing back and back and back into subjectivity, so that we can then make this bigger whole afterwards. Okay, so sometimes people will just emphasize this. So in Buddhism they call this emptiness, formless awareness, formless consciousness, and people push back and back and back and back, and that's their whole path. And it's a bit kind of world denying. But what we're going to be looking at today is what is sometimes called a non-dual path, or non-duality, where you're not trying to separate yourself from everything. You're trying to push back and back and back and open yourself up and up and up so that you can contain everything inside yourself. Okay? So, did that make any sense? I had a really deep sleep last night, feeling quite sleepy. It's taken me a while to get going. But questions are what gets me going. So, who's got a question about what we've just done or what I've just said? There's plenty more for me to say about it, but I'm going to spend the whole time talking.
Am I supposed to feel like a sponge?
A sponge? Just say more about being a sponge.
Well, you said the whole awareness thing.
Yeah.
And simply just through listening, I didn't feel anything anymore. And it was a really nice sensation.
Yeah, well, so...
Just to be totally outside of it.
Yeah. Awareness is like a sponge. It just soaks up everything that arises. And just in case this sounds a bit freaky, this is how we've all been our whole lives, we just haven't noticed. And this is one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up, that once you start meditation practice, you'll actually start to notice that when you sit in meditation, you have this kind of kaleidoscope thing happening of sensations, thoughts, feelings. They just come, they stay a bit, and then they go. But there's a part of you that is always the same, kind of like feeling and observing all of this happening. It's not a thinking part of your mind, because this part of you is aware of thinking. So at some point in my practice, it was a big shock for me. I realised I wasn't my thoughts. My whole life I'd kind of been identified with my thinking and feelings and sensations and stuff. But once these things, you start to notice them coming up, changing and then going. If you were those things, then you'd be coming and going all the time. But there's a part of you is coming and going all the time, but there's another part of you that isn't, that's always awake and aware in this moment. And the other thing to notice about it is it's identical all the time, never changing, and only in the present moment. So what we call awareness in English, we could actually change that to say that's where we feel our sense of I amness is. So this is the first person experience, first person perspective, first person singular in English. So where you feel you are. If you start meditation practice, you'll actually notice that there's this kind of empty, awake transparentness that we call awareness, which is actually where your identity feels like it is located. And the reason why they call it formless in Buddhism is that it has no colour, no smell, no shape, and you can't see it because it's not an it's an I. It's where your I feels like it is. And you won't see that part of yourself because that's the part of yourself that's doing the seeing. And this is one of the really key things that I wish I'd known when I started meditation is you're not going to see yourself as awareness. So if you see something, that's not awareness. That's an object arising inside yourself, inside your awareness. And it's going to come, stay for a while and then go. What's that make people think?
I like what you were saying. It's just like pure stillness, isn't it? That is.
Yes.
That is the source.
Yeah.
But in the world that we live in, it's kind of difficult to distract from it sometimes. It's like guided meditations. I've really, really enjoyed that because I can actually get there when I'm being guided.
Mm-hmm.
Say if I sit on my own, doing it disciplined, sometimes I can just get attached to the mind or the feelings, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
I was trying to get to that still. I know what you said. What is that? It's just a pure awareness, isn't it?
Mm.
That is not. Well, it's not my mind, my body, or my soul. It just is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just trying to tune into that.
Well, you don't need to. Well, tuning into it's quite a good phrase because this part of yourself is always on. You know, it's more a kind of like waking up is quite a good term for it because you're sort of gradually waking up to this part of yourself and it's becoming more and more vivid, and it's not you don't make awareness happen. You just are. I mean, I don't know what your experience is, but at some point in my life, I don't know where I came from. You know, at some point as a child, I started having memories. You know, it's just like, you know, what you don't make awareness. You just suddenly we all just happened as people somehow, and we're aware, and you don't make awareness happen. You just recognise that you're always aware, and this is something we'll be looking at more later. But stillness is a really good term, and it's one that is used a lot because it's really accurate, and also silence. So this part of your identity. So our identities are spread out on a spectrum, okay, of different. I mean, for me, I feel like my body is part of my identity, my feelings are part of my identity, my thoughts are part of my identity, but they're not the whole story. Yeah, they're all, our identities are spread out on all of these different layers, and we're pushing back into a particular part of our identity. Okay, so I'm not saying this is the whole picture, but this is really key to a successful meditation practice, and that's why we're starting with it. I do just make yourself comfortable somewhere. And if you want a cup of tea, do help yourself. It's all right? Yeah, the wind's blowing the door a little bit.
Okay, is it okay if I go?
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing about awareness, or I'm going to say awareness and I amness together, okay? Because I'm going to be talking a little bit about first person, second person, and third person. So these are three different perspectives that are part of all the major languages of the world, and they're sort of irreducible kind of dimensions of life. So this sounds a bit heady, but it's not. This is dead simple, and it's absolutely vital for having successful meditation practice. Okay, first person perspective is your direct experience from where you feel you are. Okay, and you use talk in I language. Okay, I am happy. I can see some trees. Yeah. Second person is when people are in communication with each other. Okay, so that's a we thing. Yeah, so Alana and I are looking at each other right now. Yeah, we're in communication. Hello, waving. Yeah, okay. It's a second person. There's you and another. Okay, and we say things like you, we, us. Yeah, and then third person perspective is it language. So this is objective, the objective world. This cup is an object for me. I'm not having a conversation with this cup. I'm not getting into like the sort of deeper things of, quantum communicate, whatever. But this cup basically is an object in my awareness. It's an it. Okay? So these three perspectives are always simultaneously present in any moment. And what we're doing, the three different practices we're going to focusing on today cover first person, second person, and third person. Okay, this is the first person practice, all about I-ness. Where is your seat of I-ness? Yeah? When we do breathing meditation, that's a third person perspective practice with the body as its own thing. Yeah? And then the second person perspective practice is we're going to be doing some visualization practice where you visualize someone, yeah, through visualization, and then you're in relationship with whatever you're visualizing. And a really deep and rich meditation practice or tradition will cover all of those three, and people will specialize in one of these different types of meditation. And they're all great. And so what I'm trying to do is give you a little taste of these different meditation techniques. And then one of them will stand out as being the one you really like. And I say go for that. But always remember there are these other two. So it's good to specialise in one, but always keep a little bit of practice going on in these other three perspectives to make it more whole and integrated. Okay, and that'll become clearer as the day goes on. So, any other questions or comments or anything like that? Don't be shy.
I found it really helpful, but what I noticed was, because I've been to your sessions before, so I'm sort of getting into that sort of state of moving back from everything, and just it felt really wonderful. And then all of a sudden this thought that I'd been obsessing about for days came in. And I noticed that it was even more irritating than it is normally. Yeah. Because it had kind of invaded this really lovely place that I was in. Yeah. But fortunately then we hit the bones. So that was.
Yeah.
So it was coming to the end, but it really sort of brought me back. This silly thought.
Well, that's the. So, every single thought like that comes up is an opportunity. It's a great opportunity. Because what you'll notice is that a thought like that comes up, and suddenly I'm just going to use personality is the term I'm going to use. Okay, so in meditation traditions they call it your ego, but I don't. That's so complicated in how it fits in with Western psychology. I'm just going to call it your personality. Yeah, or some people call it your story or whatever. Okay, so a thought like that arises, your personality reacts to it. It's like, oh God, go away. You know, it's like an insect, a fly in your face. Oh, yeah. So in that moment, you can actually notice that there's the part of you, your personality, that wants to get this thought away, but then there's also you as awareness, your I amness. So from the place of awareness, all you can say is I am. There's nothing else to say there. I am present and awake to this moment. So there's that part of you. There's no impulse to push away a thought at all as awareness. So in that moment, you've got the opportunity to really clearly see these two sides of yourself, the side that wants to push it away and the other part of you which is effortlessly present to whatever it is, no matter how uncomfortable and unpleasant. Which is why so it's remembering is also, which is what you say, you can get lost in thoughts and feelings, and you have this whole daydream sometimes. It's like you've lived a whole lifetime, in a minute or something, and you're like, oh my, back. Wow, what happened there? Yeah. So a lot of the time, this is a thing that's really important to understand with this type of meditation, is that you're not trying to push anything away, or that you'll think, oh, that felt nice, I want that back again. Sometimes you might have a really pleasant bodily sensation come up, or a really nice memory or something. I might think of one of my sons, doing something stupid, and it'll just feel great. But you're, as awareness and I amness, you're not attached to that either. That is just the same. They say one taste is a term that's used a lot, where it's just the same. It's probably said a bit too much.
That's helpful, because I think that the hard bit is keeping the I am and not letting this thought overwhelm. Yeah,
but your I am won't go anywhere, because if you're aware of the thought, your awareness hasn't gone anywhere. You're always aware. Awareness is always on. And always open and uncontracted. And
but I didn't want to think about that.
No, okay. But this so this is another really common thing. And I know all of this stuff because I've done it all myself, and I continue to do it, and less than I used to. There's nothing wrong with doing this. Is everybody's experience, So a thought, you'll get hijacked by a thought or some story about something. Things that really get me are little bits of music, like off an advert or one phrase from a song, and it'll feel like you're being invaded by that. And then there's a part of you that's like, oh, this isn't going right. I shouldn't be thinking and not wanting all of this stuff to happen. But you actually can't do this meditation wrong, in a way, because you're actually always aware. You're just forgetting that you're aware. If you're having an experience, you're aware and awake. whether that's an experience of being swept up in a story. If you weren't aware, then you wouldn't have any memory of it afterwards. You know, you've been present in that during the whole thing. So if you feel like you're doing it wrong, you're actually not doing it wrong. You're not trying to manipulate anything that's happening.
You would be allowing those. I mean, when I teach yoga, I say you can't stop your thoughts, but you can choose whether you're going to engage with them or not.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Your thoughts will just come and go.
Because we can't stop them, can we?
Well, just try. Just what I'd say. You know, anyone that worries about, just try it. But what I will say is that as the years go on and your meditation practice develops, and you do develop the ability to become very quiet.
So you strengthen by practice.
It's just like developing a muscle.
Yeah.
You know, awareness. It's not really it's brightening awareness up. It's why it's waking up at this level.
It's so beautiful to say that awakening.
Well, it feels really good.
So after my last coming here for the day, I thought I'd found my salvation, and I practiced, and somewhere along in life it stopped. So I'm back again.
Yeah, well, it does come and go, and brighten, and that's just all natural things go like that. But what you were saying was, so you're not trying to manipulate any of your experience. It's just coming up, doing its thing, and then going, and you're just. They say witnessing is a term that's used, but it's I'm not that keen on it because again it's a third person term, witnessing, or it's like an adverb, a verb, and also it's quite a kind of visually oriented term. Yeah, this is not so much seeing. It's sort of in Japanese they have a word. I can't remember what the word is, but it means heart, mind. So it's like a feeling awareness is a better term for it. And you don't have to believe any, transcendental metaphysical stuff. This is completely compatible with being an atheist. What I'm describing here, just in case anyone was worried about. I'm not trying to force. This is for you to discuss. You do your meditation practice, and you might see this. Yeah, and so that's why I'm bringing it up. Any other questions before we do it again without me guiding it?
The thing I found, sorry.
Yeah, you can both do it.
The thing I found hardest was not focusing on back pain.
Right.
And I kept thinking, am I in the right posture? And in between that, I'd have stillness and nothingness, and then I'd like, oh, that twinge in the back's still there.
But just the same with the back pain, is a great opportunity to actually recognise the complete freedom that you experience as awareness. And that's what this is all about. This is about complete radical freedom from everything.
I did feel like I was separate from it.
Yeah.
Obviously I was aware of it, and then I started thinking, is my posture right, or am I doing more damage? And then
well, then you're just like Anna. You're experiencing the part of you, your personality, is quite rightly, upset about the pain. And I'm not saying your personality should not be upset about pain. It really should be. This is the part of. If your only place you lived from in your life was as awareness, you'd basically sit still and do nothing until you starve to death. And in fact, some people have actually done that. I'm not recommending that here. It's not something I want to do. But people have done it. So there's nothing wrong with your personality wanting to change this moment. But you just notice that there's another part of you which is just aware of those sensations. they're horrible sensations, but this part of you doesn't shrink away from the sensations. Yeah. If that part of you was shrinking away from the sensations, you wouldn't even notice them, or it kind of block them out. Yeah. So effortlessness in dzogchen, which is a Tibetan tradition, they use the term effortlessness a lot, naked awareness. And this part of you is effortlessly aware. You don't need to make any effort. If you are making an effort, just notice that you're noticing your effort. There's a part of you that's aware of the effort. Okay? Right. We'll do 15 minutes, just silence. So you can just have another go. Having done this Q&A, we'll go back in and do it again. Okay? Just 15 minutes, and I'll ring the bell at the beginning, ring the bell afterwards. And then we'll have a coffee break, tea break.
I really suffer with...
I forgot your question,
Yeah,
James.
you
We will
go
do your
first.
question. No, go for it.
I really suffer with pins and needles, like
Yeah.
really bad
Mhm.
pins and needles. And usually I cross my legs, so I didn't do that now. But when I'm starting to feel that, should I just let it happen and not be able to stand up for a bit at the end of it, or change my position?
Yeah,
Like what?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Like I get
what
really,
happens.
Yeah.
really bad like that.
So-
I have to like roll around for a
Yeah.
bit before I get up.
The best meditation posture for everybody here is the one that doesn't do those sort of things to you. Because what you want to achieve is a physical state that is free from uncomfortable sensations, ideally, and effortlessly stable. So sometimes your bodies are weird, they're different every day. So sometimes for me it might be as simple as I've got one foot in front, and for some reason something's pinching somewhere. I've got some pins and needles. Even if I'm doing an hour of meditation, I'm half an hour in, and I've just eventually think, oh, I've had enough of this, and I might just switch my legs over, and then it goes. And I'd much rather do that than sit there for a whole hour with pins and needles. You don't want to damage your body. It's really not recommending that. If your joints are hurting, or anything like that, just change your posture. It's why it's good to experiment till you find something that works for you. So don't worry about moving into a different posture during these meditation sessions. We're here more to learn how to do it, and then you go home and practice. And if you really like it to be totally quiet, you get up early in the morning at home alone, put some earplugs in, all that stuff. Okay? But if you want to change your posture, you can. Yes, James.
Going to, well, not specifically, but back to what my mum said about the unsatisfactory thought. Would you not say that to fully deal with that, you don't just kind of like detach and let it go, but more of like, doesn't the unsatisfactoriness come a lack of understanding of its like own impermanence, which applies to like everything, like the bird song and everything. But I think that's totally fair, right? Because I guess we're like socialised or nurtured into latching on. But I think training yourself to just let go and know of its like impermanence. It's difficult, right? But is that not the... I don't want to say solution, but I can't...
Yes, okay, I think I know what you're saying. Let's see if this helps. So everything comes, stays a bit, and then goes. Yeah? Whether it's a thought, a sensation, even if it's a thought you're ruminating over for like 2 weeks, yeah, obsessing about, oh, I shouldn't have said that thing to that person or something, Eventually that's going to go, Yeah, it's going to come and go. So everything is impermanent, as you say. And the more you practice meditation, it really revs up your understanding of things coming and going and then being impermanent, because you actually see something come, stays a while, and then it goes. And you just keep doing that. And eventually you have such a deep understanding of that it requires less time every time to wake up from the identification with that thing. When you see, so you might see a thought come up or a feeling. So you might think, oh, I wish I hadn't said that thing to that person or whatever. That comes up. Almost instantly, you know, oh, that's just going to come for a bit and then it's going to go. And then all of a sudden you're not worrying so much about it, yeah, and it will come and go quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like I struggle with that specifically, because I mean, if you knew me, you know, I probably don't really kind of care, but not care, but you know what I mean.
I think I do. Yeah.
Just laid back about it, but I think is like I said, does that unsatisfactoriness, I guess you answered it, really literally just come from an absence of an understanding of the.
Yeah. Well.
But I guess
wait. The other thing that's coming up for me that I was saying, I hope this fits with what you're saying, is that when you're meditating, when I was just starting, this Western Buddhist monk came and I went to some classes, and he said, when you're meditating, give yourself permission to just do meditation for that period of time. So if you set aside whatever amount of time, let's just say it's an hour, you say, for this hour I'm just giving myself permission to do meditation and nothing else. So if I suddenly realise that, did I turn the oven off or something like that? Well, that's probably not a good example. I don't know. So something might cut, you might suddenly think of something. It's like, oh, I've got to write that down, I don't want to forget it. Those sort of things. You've given yourself permission to just let all of that just go for that hour. Yeah, because all of that's still going to be there when you finish your meditation practice. So in the rest of your daily life, that's the time to do all of that stuff. And hit any of what you're asking about?
No, I was just having more of a conversation, really. I wasn't necessarily like, I don't know.
I imagine that, yes, it does come from a lack of understanding, and the more you meditate, the more you understand it, and then you don't feel that's it, you don't have those problems as much.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what thanks. And that's what meditation practice does for the rest of your life. So you do your meditation practice, then you get up, you go to work or whatever, some situation comes up that you forget that it's impermanent, and you're like, oh no, this is it, my life is screwed up forever. Yeah? And you forget that that's going to come and go whenever it is going to go. That's as good as I can give on that one. Let's do some meditation practice. Keep asking questions though. You might come up a slightly different way later.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
It's like we as men, we think, don't we? Women kind of have a more creative feeling way of. It's like the law of men and female, isn't it? And like, someone said something to me the other day, it just really rung true about, because society teaches us to cling on to things, you know what I mean, like not let go. But someone said to me the other day, how do I let go? And someone said to him, just don't hang on and squeeze so tightly.
Mm-hmm.
And that just really rung true to me, because we like to hang on to things, don't we?
Well, your personality does this all the time.
Yeah.
But as awareness, you don't. Your awareness doesn't hang on to anything at all. Yeah. So, which is why it's a great asset to discover this part of yourself, because part of yourself is absolutely okay with this moment as it is, no matter what's happening. And that's in Tibetan Buddhism, the dzogchen tradition. They call it great perfection. That life is perfect, even though it's an absolute horror show. It is also perfect from this perspective. From the perspective of your personality, life, is a roller coaster ride of joy and misery, and it's not perfect. Yeah, from the perspective of your personality, you're always wanting to make life better. But from this part of yourself, this aspect of yourself, your I amness, the formless awareness, naked awareness, that's effortlessly aware. Yeah. I've just lost my train of thought, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It just came and it's gone. I'm still awake. I'm still here. Right. Let's do it.